Know thyself is a philosophical maxim that many of you are probably pretty familiar with. It's this idea of full self-actualization, of understanding who you truly are at your core. There are, of course, many ways in which we can come to know thyself, but existentialist philosophers like Friedrich Nietzsche and Martin Heidegger offer us two different possibilities, one rooted in being and the other in becoming. For Nietzsche, there is no fixed self. You are not a soul, you are not a static entity waiting to be discovered, you are in flux, and life is the process of becoming what you are or willing it into existence. He calls this the will to power. It is the constant overcoming of what you were for the sake of what you will become. There is no final or correct answer like becoming Christ-like or achieving nirvana. What you create is entirely up to you. So in this sense, the self is not discovered, but rather it is created. And for Nietzsche, the greatest crime that one can commit is to live passively and simply conform or accept meaning from the outside. Instead, you create your own values and you become your higher self. But for thinkers like Martin Heidegger, he believes that Nietzsche is making a mistake in conflating being with passive existence. The problem is not that we lack a self, it is that we lack the understanding necessary to discover that self. Throughout his book Being in Time, when Heidegger refers to the term being, he's not exactly referring to a stagnant entity, he's more so referring to the deep, ultimate essence of existence, which is something that remains hidden from us for the most part, but it is something that is discoverable if you are capable of attuning yourself to it and understanding it. Heidegger famously uses the term Dasein, which literally translates to being there or being in the world. It is a noun and a verb at the same time because it is both the act of being in the world and it is also the being itself, for which its being is an issue. If your being is not personally an issue for you, that is perfectly fine, but you're not Dasein, you are Das Man, but that's besides the point. For Heidegger, one cannot simply create themselves. You cannot bring essence into existence. You uncover yourself, your ultimate being, your mortality, your potential, by facing the ultimate truth of your being in the world. You can think of the act of becoming as destroying a piece of art and rebuilding it to your liking over and over and over and over again. And you can think of being as like a buried treasure with all of the answers and truths inside of it, but the only way to discover it is by reading a map that you can't translate, or at least not very well yet. And the idea of being versus becoming is not necessarily unique to Nietzsche or Heidegger. Philosophers have been mulling over these for centuries. But what's interesting about them is that they are both aimed at non-passive, actionable self-discovery. So the question at the end of the day really is whether or not that ultimate being, that higher self, is waiting to be created or already exists and is waiting to be discovered. What do you guys think?